So let me just, okay, we're there. Okay, well, listen, I guess we're good to go. And I will thank you all for coming and joining us today for Bell Let's Talk. It's certainly a serious enough conversation that we're excited to be able to support the initiative through Bell, and even more excited that we have Sandy McDonald here from Bell to talk a little bit about the initiative, in addition to having Sandy Sidsworth. But Sandy has also shared a video with me that I will share with you now, and we'll get that to start our, use that to start our event.
Hello, I'm Mary Deacon, Chair of Bell Let's Talk, and today is Bell Let's Talk Day. Bell Let's Talk Day is a timely opportunity to build on increased awareness around mental health and to help inspire us all to keep playing an active role in moving mental health forward in Canada as a priority issue. For this year's campaign, we are continuing to focus on action, encouraging all of us to keep talking, keep listening, and keep being there for one another. Together, we can continue to drive positive change. Together, we can remind people they are not alone and that recovery is possible. Please join me today when, for every applicable call, text, and social media interaction, Bell donates more to Canadian mental health. Together, we can create a Canada where everyone can get the mental health support they need.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So Sandy, go ahead, and I think you can unmute yourself. And if you'd like to tell us a little bit about Bell Let's Talk Day. I know this isn't new, but
no, it's not new. But first of all, I just want to thank everyone for taking time out to join us today. And thank you to the Chamber for your leadership in wanting to do this. It really is all about the actions that we take around this. It is Bell Let's Talk Day, and it's a day that we definitely focus on reducing the stigma associated with mental health issues. But I really want to emphasize that it is not just a day. It is something that I know a lot of people on this particular call live and breathe each and every day. And it is only through the actions that we take each and every day as Canadians that we truly are making a difference. So I want to emphasize that. Thank you so much for your participation today if you choose to, but if you don't, that's all right. We just thank you for being there each and every day. And if I can take the liberty of introducing the fabulous Sandy at this time, because I think that Sandy and the work that the Enrichment Center does is exactly what we're trying to emphasize with a day like today. It's a day, and it's a great day. We're very proud of it, but it doesn't mean anything without people like the Sandy Sidsworths of the world and her team, who are truly making a difference each and every day and moving that yardstick forward and forward to ensure that everybody has access to care when and where they need it. Meeting people where they are is just so absolutely critical, and we need to make it a priority as Canadians to put the pressure where it needs to be put to make sure that the care is there for people when they need it. Sandy sent through a very modest bio, and I will read it, but I really feel like I want to just, do a song and dance and sing her praises as opposed to just this. As you all know, she's pretty much legendary there in the region for her humility, let alone her mental health leadership. But I will read this for those of you that aren't familiar with Sandy. And she's probably going to kill me later for all of this. I'm sorry. Sandy Sidsworth has been a poverty advocate and mental health proponent for over 25 years. She has experience in child welfare, domestic violence, municipal government, and has been the executive director of the Enrichment Center for Mental Health, formerly Canadian Mental Health Association, Hastings and Prince Edward, for the past 11 years. Folks, she's a true leader, and I really want you to listen to what she has to say, and more importantly, pay attention to what this organization are doing in your region each and every day, because it's pretty impactful. So I'll turn it over to you. Happy Bell Let's Talk Day, and thanks for everything.
Thanks, Sandy, and happy Bell Let's Talk back at you, because this is just an awesome opportunity to talk about stigma and action and removal of all of that, and how are we going to move forward. When Lisa approached me, it was just before this next go round of lockdowns and changes, and I was hoping to have a very different conversation about how we as a collective group in our communities move forward between work and home, and creating mental health wellness and resiliency. And Jill and I had a moment just to talk before everyone came on, and Jill echoes something that I'm hearing, we're hearing all over the community, is people are tired. This last round, I think, has exhausted community resources. It's also come at a time when things are cold, and there's so many other things coming to the forefront, not just around mental health and wellness, but of course we know the impact of poverty and homelessness. Food security is going to be another weight on people's emotional well-being as we move into some of these into the later winter, and of course the costs of all of that. So it's this collective universal heaviness. And the one thing that COVID has done for the collective, for all of us, is a different type of understanding on what mental health is, because of social isolation, because of fear. You know, if we think back to, wow, almost 2 years ago, and the news was starting to come out, and we saw scenes from Italy and from Britain, and some of the horrifying scenes from New York City and what they were doing. You know, we had a sense that we couldn't escape this thing that was around us, and it starts to play on every aspect of our lives, at home and at work. And then the orders came that we had to close down except for essential services, and we were providing food and security and food and homelessness support. So there was a core team that stayed open for that first lockdown. And I can remember, I've talked to some of you about the eeriness of those first few days when you would come into a big complex, which is huge over here. At least you know that we're partners in crime over here. And there wasn't a car around. There wouldn't be a car in your commute. You wouldn't be wanting to give the finger to someone who doesn't know how to stop at a four-way stop. I mean, that's normal part of your day, but the emptiness, the void, and the stillness was very disconcerting. And it is something that I remember as we move forward that period of time. So everyone has a collective understanding about what that heaviness can feel like now. And what the great thing is about having a day like today, we talk about it, we can actualize things. Moving back into the workplace, I suspect many of you are still working from home. We're finding out some research that the hybrid model, while we try to be kind and compassionate, it's not doing maybe what we hoped it would do, that you could have a choice of maybe working 2 days from home and 3 days in office. People that have never come back to office, their mental health is suffering too, because they've got kids at home doing online learning. So there has not been a perfect path through how we navigate the work-life balance in such an unbalanced time. So at this point, I'm supposed to give you something profound and to say, here it is, and this is going to work. I'm not going to do that because I can't. I wish I could. I see the names here. There's some really outstanding business leaders. I know the type of organizations you're running. And I know the most important thing that you're doing is that you're listening to your staff. And I would say that that's probably, as an employer, one of the big things that you can do to support resiliency and support wellness as we move into this new endemic time past the pandemic, is that listening and that trying to be flexible where you can. Sue Mills, I know some of you know that amazing woman that does our psychological health and safety. And when she's out with employers about creating wellness in a work environment, it doesn't take dollars. It takes maybe some initiative around some interested staffing that want to have a part in this, and it can be creative, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to ensure mental health wellness for your staff team. That balance for people that are working from home and missing the isolation. How do you bring people back? Think about that. Think about how people want to be a part of a day-to-day adult conversation for many people. Is the work at home model going to work? And is it going to continue to work? Those are all hard conversations that companies, agencies, we all have to have about our employed life. One of the things that I think we've really had a strong reaction to in our own work-life balance is whether we're responding or we're reacting. I don't know those folks in customer service. I know you know this, is that tempers are raw, and our customer service people at times have been abused, and we see that reactionary piece coming through because people are angry and scared, and these wonderful folks that help us with our business bear the brunt of it at times. So it's telling people how to step back and not to react to what's reacting in front of them, but how to respond. How do you respond in a way that maintains a level of safety? How do you respond that maintains a level of hearing the person and what's really going on? And it's making those connections, and that's what we're seeing from employers talking to us and saying, and reaching out and saying, I don't know how to help my team. Or we are getting people that are, you're seeing cups being thrown at Tim Hortons staff, or smoothies and things like that. That has to make people working in our businesses feel so devalued. So there's more onus on all of us trying to make everyone feel that they matter, that they're important. And that all ties back into Bell Let's Talk Day, and about having the conversations about reducing stigma, having the conversations on how we can take action. Sorry, I'm trying to cover, I've got about an hour's worth of talk, Jill, and I'm trying to point out the pertinent points in about 10 minutes. How do we have these, how do we support action that's meaningful and impactful on the collective group in our organizations, and then take that whole premise back into our homes, because we are not the only ones struggling through COVID and through mental health slippages. We have our partners, we have our children, we have our extended family, we have our friends. And in so much of this, it's connection. I was wanting to leave the chamber with an idea, because Waterfront is coming. I don't know what it's going to look like, but man, it would be really nice to see in a community event that maybe allowed for just connectedness, and maybe it allowed for people who have lost people through not being able to be present when they've lost someone, not just to COVID. We've had horrendous losses, of course, but there's other grief that we've carried forward, that we haven't come together as community and supported each other. We haven't been able to celebrate. Think of how many graduations and how many things and milestones in our lives, retirement, 60th birthdays, we've not been able to celebrate. It would be wonderful if we wanted to think of a collective wellness day that encouraged a sense of grief, a sense, a sense of healing from that, a sense of celebration. And it doesn't have to have a lot of bells and whistles, just an ability to bring people together. And I am going to leave that in the lap of the wonderful chamber, because they're amazing people to bring community together and see what happens from there. The other piece I wanted to leave you with on this day, because I know we have the amazing board of directors to come forward, and I'm looking so forward to seeing them with this wonderful chamber, is I've left a couple of things in the side panel, a couple of resources. And our door is always open. As you know, we're really focusing on an employment first model of care, because we know right now we're struggling with housing, but we're really trying to support people to employment. And kudos to some of our shelters, Grace Inn, Bridge Street United, and John Howard Society, collectively working together, that maybe people don't have a roof over their head, but we find creative ways to keep people moving forward in their employment, and hopefully helping them to find something sustainable that doesn't come from a service agency, because we're so strapped. Think about supporting those agencies. Elise, your folks are amazing. Of course, Three Oaks, so many people are doing components of the care around broken people and their mental health. Please think of those agencies, take a look. I see we have Habitat for Humanity, another great organization, and I'm hoping that they've got some creative ideas to help us with this emerging crisis for our folks that are struggling to find a roof over their head. But all together between business, home, agencies, and that support, if we can really focus on connecting as a community as a whole, I think we can start to get through some of this heaviness that everybody is feeling, and the struggle and the exhaustion. So I'm going to leave those words of wisdom on a day that is so bright with promise, because Belle again is bringing that light to having these conversations. But again, as Sandy stated, that it's not just today we talk, it's tomorrow and it's next week, and we talk with action. So I wish you all some joy in your day. And I don't know what I was supposed to talk about, Lisa and Jill, but it's very different this time around from when we first connected in November. So I wish you all that today. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sandy. And as our 2019 recipient of our Mentorship Cornerstone Award, I mean, you have been a mentor for so many and in so many different roles. I remember that day we had that conversation about why you should be that person, and sharing the tears that you kind of went through that brought us to that moment, right? And I think that's exactly why, you're a great advocate to speak to this message. You are right. We are sensitive. We are raw. We're tired of being resilient and flexible. I mean, pivoting has become the exercise trend. Nobody likes it anymore. It's hard to keep our chin up and stay positive. And the saying, stay positive, test negative, is kind of starting to ring hollow, and or has a hollow ring to it. It's for anybody who ordered lunch, you might have gotten one of these great little bookmarks, and just wanted to say, here are some of the actions I think that Sandy have recommended through this, is that language matters, that we need to be kind, educate yourself, listen and ask, and then most of all, let's talk about it. So thanks so much to all of you for joining us for that message today. And any last minute words there, Sandy? Either one of you?
I just think, remember to give, for everyone, to give yourself some grace in all of this. We're all navigating something different. And it's, if you're being kind to others, remember to reflect that back and cut yourself some slack.
For sure. So that will take us over to the other part of our event today. And so as kind of a general membership meeting, again, really appreciate the fact that that Bell Let's Talk gives us the platform to gather you all together so that we can get on to something that may not always seem as an important opportunity, but we did elect a new board, and we have sworn them in. And now Anthony Callahan, as our incoming or new president starting in January, he's here along with some members of our board, and I will invite any of our members of the board who are here to turn on their camera now, and they'll kind of fill up our screen. And we can share some introductions and some vision for the future. So Anthony, I will let you kind of move your way around the screen to whomever you can see.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Anthony Callahan, as Joe mentioned, our new board president. I just want to say thank you very much to both Sandys from Bell and Sandy from the Enrichment Center. We're really lucky to have the Enrichment Center in our community, and you guys do outstanding work. So thank you very much for being here today. As the new president, you're going to hear from me in a little while, along with our other committee chairs, but I just wanted to kind of go around to each board member just to have them do a brief introduction, maybe just say a couple words about yourself and what you do for your day job. And then we'll pass it along to our committee chairs to do a little more in depth. So I'll just go through the screen here and hopefully not miss anybody. I guess I can start with Peter Kempener, who's our past president.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Peter Kempener, and I am past president this year. Anthony stepping into my role from last year, and I'm with Task Force Engineering. So we're a local construction engineering company here, and I live here in Belleville with my wife, Linda, and I have 3 grown children that live outside the area. And so I'm been on the board for a number of years and looking forward to this year.
Thank you, Peter. Some big shoes to fill there. Next is Jeanette. Let's go to Jeanette.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeanette Cyr Guerrero. I'm an accountant at Wilkinson & Company. We provide assurance, tax, and accounting services to several businesses in the community. I'm also the treasurer for the Belleville Chamber of Commerce, spending my time sort of monitoring the finances, helping with budgeting, and providing oversight of the accounting processes. And you'll hear more from me at our annual general meeting where we go over the 2021 financial statements.
Thank you, Jeanette. Next, Christina Wallace.
Hi, I'm Christina Wallace. I'm a lawyer here in Belleville. I'm the first vice president at the Chambers and chair of the Financial Committee. My background is I went to high school here in Belleville. I raised my children in Belleville. I left Belleville for a period of time and came back here in 2019 and started my own practice as a lawyer here in Belleville. I specialize in employment law and construction lien law, but I'm a litigator. I sat on the board for the last 2 years in 2020 and 2021. Last year, I was the chair of the governance committee, and I'm really glad to be part of this, the chamber, and it's an honor to work with the people that are on the board and with all the members.
Thank you, Christina. We'll go to Karen Post next.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Karen Post, and I'm the Manager of Economic Development for the City of Belleville. I've had the pleasure of being on the Chamber Board for many years, and my role is to understand the issues business is facing and help make sure council's aware of those issues and that they're supporting and providing help wherever they can. And as well, my role is to bring issues and information from the city to the Chamber Board and the Chamber membership to make sure that everybody has as much information as possible, which affects their daily lives. So happy to be here and happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We'll move over to Brian Pennell, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Brian Pennell from Kempener Stellite here in Belleville, Ontario. I'm here to represent the local manufacturers appointed from the Queenie Manufacturing Association. I actually grew up in Belleville, raised, went away to school in Toronto and came back to the area. Really looking forward to helping out in any way possible this year on the board. And in my spare time, I compete in strongman sport.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. We'll go on to Ian Wilson next.
Hi, Ian Wilson with Task Force Engineering. I was also born and raised here in Belleville. Took a trip to Ottawa for 15 years or so and came back in 2015. Excited to see the growth of Hometown City over the last 7 years and hoping that I can bring some insight to the board of directors from the local construction industry.
Great. Thanks, Ian. We'll move over to Wendy Keller next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Keller, and I am a board of directors since 2020 as well. My whole experience on the board has been pretty well from a virtual standpoint, so I'm certainly hoping that one day very soon we can get together more collaboratively as a board and in person. My background is financial services and 20 years in the business in Belleville, providing financial services to clients, specifically wealth and estate planning. And originally born and raised in Rhodesia and immigrated to Canada in '78 with my family as a teenager. So Canada is my home and probably one of the best countries in the world.
Awesome. Thanks, Wendy. We'll move on to Sean Stickel next.
Thank you, Anthony. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sean Stickel, and I'm with a sales consultant with Summers Generator Systems. We deal with residential, commercial, and industrial generator systems. I've been on the board. This will be my 4th year, and I'm a part of our membership committee. I'm actually, as you kind of notice that common theme, I briefly left after high school for a few years and now back in the area. Working and loving life here.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, it's a common theme for a lot of us, but it's good to see people coming back at least, right? So
it's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'll move on to Scott Bartley next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott. I come from Restore Balance, which is a counseling and psychological private practice here in Belleville and has a few other offices across Ontario. I think days like today are kind of why I like to be involved, because this has, so much meaning across the board. And, to kind of reiterate what Sandy had said, kindness, it truly has a ripple effect. It's, it touches people in ways that we can just never understand. And, you just don't expect. It can be transformative for some people that just need it on that one day, that one little thanks or how are you doing? Like that can play a huge role in their life. The other thing that, just while I'm here, I'd like to encourage anybody and everybody that can look at, mental health first aid courses. I think that they're a great thing to look at, both from employment and a personal perspective. They really teach you a lot about, mental health and how to support individuals and recognize those signs and symptoms that might be out there, and to really help reduce the stigma that's associated with mental health, so that we can keep that conversation going, not just one day a year, but 365 days a year. So thanks.
Thank you, Scott. That's very well said. We'll move on next to Sandra Leslie, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Sandra Leslie. I am the Executive Director at Meta Employment Services. Our main office is in Belleville. We also have offices in Whitby and Bancroft. We support job seekers and employers alike. And this is my 3rd year on the board of directors and my 1st year moving on to the executive. So this year I am the 3rd vice and chair of the membership committee.
Great, thanks, Sandra. So I think that's everybody that's here today. I believe the only 2 directors that we're missing are Dr. Anne-Marie Vaughn from Loyalist and Dale Horde from MicroAge. So we're going to get into the committee chairs, just kind of offering an introduction of their committee and saying a few words. I guess we can start with our past president, who is the chair of our governance committee this year, and that would be Peter Kempener.
Great, thanks, Anthony, and good morning and welcome, everyone. I guess it's afternoon now, but yeah, my name is Peter Kempener, and I'm past president of the chamber this year. I just want to first of all just say thank you to Bell for drawing attention to such a important issue in our lives and in our communities, and also to Sandy for just reminding us to be better human beings by just listening to people and supporting them and just being there for them, because yeah, a lot of people are struggling, and it's we all need to step up and do our part. So I just want to just reflect briefly on my last year as president. It was a year of significant challenges, and despite that, it was a year of actual significant accomplishments as well. So, which is great to see. I mean, we had our first virtual president's dinner and awards gala on a cruise ship in the middle of a pandemic. Who does that? But amazing, and full credit to chamber staff for really thinking outside the box. We achieved our accreditation as a chamber of commerce, which we will talk about more, but this was a big accomplishment after a very lengthy process. The chamber stepped up and ran the rapid antigen testing program for our community, offering test kits to over 360 businesses. It's just such a huge undertaking, and the staff stepped up and just really brought that service to our community. And we would never have imagined when we first started, we had some uptake there, and we thought, okay, this is going to be a commitment, and then it just exploded as things moved along. So despite the pandemic restrictions, I mean, the chamber was able to put on a number of events, including Canada Day, celebrations and parade, curbside culture, food festival, an 8-day midway, and a very welcome Santa Claus parade toward the end of the year. They even managed to organize a hometown hockey event to showcase our community. So lots of things happening, and basically that all happened from July onward. So pretty remarkable for staff to be able to pull all that together. There was lots of other value-added events and advocacy going on throughout the year, and really just too many to really mention. But what I'm most proud of is the way the Chamber of Commerce staff at the log cabin came together as a team to deliver so many events, grand openings, celebrations, and so much more in the face of extraordinary challenges. It's really a true testament of their abilities and commitment to deliver great value to chamber membership and to the community in which we live and do business. I know, and I feel completely confident that if they can accomplish what they have done in the past year under such challenging circumstances, then there is just so much more exciting things in store for the future. And that will add value to us as a community and to our businesses. People really sit up and they take notice when this sort of thing is happening in the community. An example of that, with the hometown hockey, turning to Belleville for a second event in just a few years, and because they knew that Belleville and the chamber could pull it off and on short notice. And so that's a pretty big deal when you have national organizations looking to a city like Belleville and saying, hey, we know those guys can pull this together. So just the other thing, I am this year's chair of the governance committee, which is tasked with guiding the chamber and ensuring we maintain proper governance. And as I mentioned earlier, we successfully achieved our accreditation as a chamber last year. And as part of that process, we developed and put into use a well thought out manual setting out organization and governance policy and procedure, advocacy roles, membership requirements, programs and services provided by the chamber. So as chair of this committee, I am so grateful to have such a comprehensive document because will guide our decisions going forward, and I'm confident it will make managing and oversight of the chamber much easier. There's a few things that we are having to work on yet. We're looking at putting in place equity and diversity policy, technology, email policy, whistleblower policy, sort of things like that we're still incorporating. So there's some housekeeping things that need to be done, but overall we've got a great template there that we can work with and going forward. as chair of this committee, I'm tasked with recruiting new board members. And, we've had a very good board for many years, and that has been a result of a very capable and diverse group of individuals representing a broad range of our business sectors and community partners. And, we have members representing retail and services, financial and insurance services, legal profession, accounting profession, manufacturing, technology, construction and development, and as well as Loyalist College and the city of Belleville. And so we feel it's important that we represent not only the sectors in our business community, but the diversity in our community. If there are people who have an interest in joining the board, or of someone who you feel would be a good addition to the board, we'd love to hear from you. We would like to strengthen our representation in the retail sector, and as well professional services such as say the medical professionals. We all know the challenges facing our community with regard to doctor shortages, and I think that's something that the chamber may be able to help with by engaging the right individuals. So looking forward to a great year ahead of us, and working our way out of this last wave of the COVID. And that's right, it's the last wave. It's got to be. We've got to get there. So I've had enough of it, and I am sure everyone else has as well. So let's do what we need to do to get us past this, and we can all get back to business. So thank you.
Thanks, Peter. It's very much. It better be the last wave. That's for sure. And congratulations on your presidency. And I'm glad to have you on as a past president for this year. So we'll go next to our membership chair. That will be our third vice president, Sandra Leslie.
Hello again. So a little bit of information about the membership committee. Our mandate is to review membership renewal, identify value, promote and develop events, and of course, improve member-to-member engagement. So this year, we plan to continue to grow the committee's reach to meet the needs of the chamber members. We plan to do this by taking a critical analysis on our communication strategies and ensuring we are providing our members with relevant and timely information. We'll be expanding the ambassador program, which partners new members in a type of buddy system. We realize that sometimes being a new member walking into an unfamiliar room can be somewhat daunting. Ensuring events are relevant to the business community will also be part of our mandate. We want to make sure our virtual and face-to-face events provide our members with networking opportunities whenever possible and information that will help them be successful in their business. We want to grow our member-to-member program, not only in scope, but also in awareness. Many of our members still don't realize that their employees can benefit from special offers, like savings of 25% off at Papa John's Pizza. That benefit can be shared. We're looking for new members for the committee. The committee normally meets once a month, and there's approximately 1 hour per month additional commitment. So if you're able to commit to a committee and you want to come out and join us or be part of the ambassador program, give us a shout, talk to Lisa or to myself. We'd be happy to have you. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Sandra. So I'm just going to say a few words. So our second vice president, Dale Horde of Micrage, he is unavailable today. He's away, lucky him. But he is our chair of our Government Affairs Committee this year. So in his absence, I'd just like to say a few words about our Government Affairs Committee. So our Government Affairs Committee meets on the third Tuesday of each month and is always open to anyone who would like to be part of it. Obviously, the more voices we have and viewpoints we can have, the better. So as I mentioned, currently it's chaired by Dale Horde, and it's made up of some of us that are on the board already, as well as some representatives from our chamber members. So this past year in 2021, I was Government Affairs Chair, and it really opened my eyes to how much pull we have with all three levels of government. I was able to see firsthand the advocacy work we do for our members and the business community in general, really. I always hark back to early 2020, just before COVID hit. That was when Lisa Grills, our membership development coordinator, and I were able to join our local MPP, Todd Smith, at Queen's Park for what's called the annual Ontario Chamber Advocacy Day. So the Ontario Advocacy Day is a day when all the Ontario chambers send representatives to Queen's Park to discuss issues our member businesses are facing with politicians from all stripes. So this happens annually on the federal level with chambers from all over Canada as well. Now, part of Advocacy Day and in preparation for it, chambers can put forward motions with issues that are affecting their local members. These motions are often and can be sponsored and supported by fellow chambers in Ontario who face the same issues, and then voted on and presented as policy resolutions to the government in power at the time. So some examples of the provincial resolutions from last year that were affecting our members and that we spoke up on included the Great Lakes water levels, investing in skilled trades training, advancing women in business, increasing health transfer payments, raising wages in child and the healthcare industry, and many others. So one thing not a lot of people understand is that the chamber really does have an open channel and a loud voice to all three levels of government. We would greatly encourage any members who have issues they want to bring to light to contact any one of us so we can bring their troubles forward at our Government Affairs Committee meeting and then ultimately to our government representatives. A couple local issues that the Government Affairs Committee specifically weighed in on and continues to advocate for to this day include the local development charges, better rural broadband access, our housing shortage is a huge one, employment shortages, and more, much more. At the end of the day, the chamber is there to represent the needs of your business, and there are many examples I can see where our voice is heard, not just in our local community, but provincially with our fellow Ontario chambers and federally with our chambers across the country. Power in numbers is huge, and when you think about the Belleville Chamber alone having over 450 member businesses, and then think about all the chambers in Ontario coming together, or better yet, all the chambers in Canada, we're definitely a force that cannot be ignored by any politician, at least if they want to stay in power. So, advocacy is one of, if not the most valuable roles a Chamber of Commerce can do for its members. So again, we want to encourage any members to bring forward issues that are affecting them, and better yet, come on out to a Government Affairs Committee meeting and see what we're all about. So thanks very much. And I'll pass it over next to our first vice, Christina, who's also chair of our Finance Committee, with Jeanette, our treasurer.
Hi, everyone. I just want to give a shout out to Bell for advancing the awareness of mental illness. As an employment lawyer dealing with employment issues surrounding COVID, I'm very aware of the tensions and frustrations that the pandemic has caused for both employees and employers. This year, we have created a separate finance committee. It used to be a committee that was only with the executive. We had an executive finance committee, but this year we've created a separate finance committee with the aim of developing more of a strategic planning role for the finances of the chamber. Over the last year or so, our treasurer, Jeanette, has established a set of reports and has become instrumental in providing an overview of financial reports to the board that are understandable and makes looking at all of this much easier for us. The purpose of the new financial committee is, of course, to review the financial reports and discuss those. It's also discuss the financial strategies for the chambers. Currently, our revenues mainly come from membership fees, the City of Belleville, which provides funding for city events and visitor services. We also gather revenues from things such as the golf tournament, the President's Dinner, breakfast and lunch events, and a number of other sources. I would strongly encourage our chamber members that are interested to join our financial committee meetings. Your ideas and suggestions on exploring alternative ways to create revenues for the chambers would be most welcome. We meet every second Tuesday at 7:30 a.m., which is currently by way of Zoom. If you're interested, please reach out. We can give you the Zoom contact details to join those meetings, and I encourage you to do so.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Christina. And as Christina mentioned, we have a dedicated treasurer now, Jeanette Cyr Guerrero from Wilkinson, and we can't be more happy to have her. To have someone in the treasurer role with an accounting background such as hers is hugely valuable to us as an organization. So thank you to you both. So we'll move on now. As I mentioned, I'm Anthony Callahan. For those of you who don't know me, I am our 2022 Belleville Chamber of Commerce Board President. So I'm very honored to be named Chamber President for 2022, and I thank you for this opportunity. Many past presidents that came before me are well-known business owners in our community who really helped shape our community into what it is today. So a little about myself. I'm 36 years old. I'm a commercial insurance broker for McDougall Insurance and Financial at our head office here in downtown Belleville at Century Place. I grew up in Belleville. I attended NCC for high school. Then I went on to graduate from both the University of Ottawa and Algonquin College. I worked for a few years there with the federal government in Ottawa before I moved back to Belleville. And I took a role helping businesses manage their risk and exposures in the ever-evolving and often very frustrating commercial insurance world. So I've been in the industry about 10 years now. When I'm not working or volunteering on a few of the boards that I sit on, you can usually find me playing sports, hockey, baseball, golf, or just jamming out to one of my favorite hard rock songs on guitar. So this is starting to sound like an online dating profile. Sorry about that. But anyways, so this is my 5th year on the board, and this year as president is my 5th year on the board. So my last 4 years, I've really got to see firsthand the impact the chamber has on all our business community. A lot of this I alluded to earlier with regards to our government affairs committee, but we definitely wear a lot of hats at the chamber. Another one being the host of multiple city events each year. There's many of them, but 2 of the classics and 2 of my favorites obviously are the Waterfront Festival and the Santa Claus Parade. It's not been an easy last couple of years, but I really can't give enough kudos to our 4 chamber staff members led by our CEO, Jill Raycroft. If it wasn't for our 4 chamber staff members, Jill, Susan, Lisa, and Anna, and their uncanny ability to creatively think outside of the box, the chamber could have been a ghost the last couple of years, but instead we were front and center, and we were able to find creative ways to hold all of our events COVID friendly. So our staff continues to make the Belleville Chamber one of the strongest in Eastern Ontario, if not one of the stronger chambers in the entire province. So for 2022, I really just hope we can get back to some resemblance of normalcy. I've said that a few times now. We're not really off to a very good start, but my fingers are crossed we'll get through this and eventually be able to have our mingles, our breakfast, our president's dinner, and many other events so our members can connect in real life again and we can highlight all their accomplishments. We have a busy year. We have 2 elections on the horizon. We've got municipal and provincial. So it's going to be a very busy year for our government affairs committee. Like every election year, the chamber is a great resource to have candidate debates and roundtables. COVID won't stop this from happening, as we will pivot to a digital platform, just like we did last year for the federal election debate, streamed from the Empire Theater if need be. So, I just want to say our board is made up of valuable business leaders in our community. When I look at the representatives on our board, for example, we have Dr. Anne-Marie Vaughn from Loyalist. We have Karen Post from the city. We've now got Jeanette from Wilkinson as our dedicated treasurer. New to our board this year, we have Brian Pennell from the Quinte Manufacturers Association and through his role with Kempener Stellate. We've got Ian Wilson, task force. The list goes on and on. These board members are here to represent your voice and to be the voice of business in our community. Cannot ask for a better group of people to work with, nor a better team of staff at our log cabin. I look forward to working with everyone and to stand up and speak for the needs of our business community. So I just want to say welcome to our new board members, our new chamber members, and I'm looking forward to a great year. Thanks very much. So I think now I'll pass it over to Lisa Grills. She's going to speak about our membership.
Thank you, Anthony. Hang on, I'll start my video here. Thank you, Anthony. Looking very forward to 2022. I do want to give another shout out to Bell. Thank you so much for sponsoring. And I know Jill said, you gave us some swag. If you ordered lunch, you've got a reusable straw in there, a screen cleaner, a pen, just some terrific stuff. So thank you very much. We appreciate that continued support. And I want to thank our members. Jill had alluded to it in the chamber chat that went out this morning. It kind of feels like Christmas here because, more than 1/3 of our members have already renewed for the 2022 calendar year. So thank you so very much. We really appreciate the support. I've only been here for 2 years, but this is, I guess, my third January. And I think we've broken a record as to the number of renewals that we've gotten so far. So thank you so much. I see 2022 as a year to really connect with our members. I started in December and then had 3 months almost in under my belt, and then COVID hit. So most of my role as membership development has been in a COVID environment, with trying to connect with people when, you know, we all learned how to do Zoom in these last 2 years. Aren't we just so proficient right now? We're sharing screens. I don't think anybody has said yet, you're muted. Anyway, so I really look forward to this year, and I'm being very positive, and I think we're going to be able to connect. And that's really important to me, to make sure that we have those connections and we're providing what our members need in, you know, as Sandra said, networking opportunities, in information, in workshops. That's all the role of the membership committee. So I'm very excited to start that with some new members and a new committee chair. So Sandra, I'm looking so forward to working with you. So, and get back to breakfast. We were fortunate enough to have one breakfast in the last 2 years. It was in November, and we were celebrating the Queenie Business Achievement Award winners. It was fantastic. Today was supposed to be a breakfast, but they're on the horizon. I can see them. I look forward to mingles. We've had several members reach out and say, when we're ready, you know, we're ready to host a mingle. Anthony, your president's dinner is going to be face-to-face. It's going to be April, and we're going to knock the socks off of it. So we look forward to that. You know, again, to reiterate, Sandra, if you're interested in any of those things, please come out, be a part of the membership committee, dabble your toe in the water. You know, you may find that you want to become a board member after that, or you know, if it's just you haven't got a lot of time, but you want to be part of the ambassador program, you know, we just buddy you up with a new member who maybe is looking for just someone to lean on a little bit over the next, you know, year or so. So anyway, thank you very much. I look forward to connecting with as many members as I possibly can over the next year.
Thanks, Lisa. I really hope that as fun as the cruise ship virtual ride was last year, I really hope we can go back to the in-person dinner this April. Okay, so I think Jill's going to say a few words now on the chamber update.
Sure, and thanks to everyone for hanging in. We will tie this up for about 1 o'clock. If I can talk that long, maybe it won't even have to be. But a couple of mentions around the accreditation. So I just wanted to really thank Christina for a lot of the work, and the members and the governance committee that we had in place with Wendy and Sandra. And we hadn't really put this committee in place before. We had kind of a subcommittee for accreditation, but this really put our policy and procedure manual in place that allowed us to kind of, and then check off all the boxes. Lisa also did a great deal of work around that too. But this means that we are proud to recognize chambers as examples of leading organizations making a difference in communities across the country and keeping the voice of business loud and strong. Accreditation is the acknowledgement that member chambers have been successfully evaluated against a rigorous set of national standards and have demonstrated excellence in chamber management. What that also means is that there are 60 accredited chambers in Canada, and the Belleville Chamber of Commerce was the only one who was actually acknowledged for their initial accreditation in 2021. There were 25 chambers that were reaccredited. So we are part of an elite group, I think, at this point, and it's quite exciting to have gone through the process. We were getting ready to do it in 2020, and then of course, the pandemic hit, and just the amount of information that needed to be collected and how we could actively pursue some of those advocacy issues and everything just became a challenge. So it did delay us about a year, but we've come a long way. And I think the development of each of our committees and the capacity that the board now has to speak of their role and their responsibility is a testament to all of the work that we've come through over the past couple of years. And I want to thank every one of you for taking on the challenge, because I want to say I task you with a little bit, and each month we go a little bit further, and I ask you to do a little bit more, and you're all rising to the occasion. So listen, if we have to pivot, so do you. we really, really appreciate everything that you bring to us and to the membership. I want to say, for anyone who is a member listening to this now, and if you're listening to it in the future, you have a really strong board supporting you. Your membership dollars go to support these resources and the work that we do. And when you support us through our events or sponsorship, it also makes it possible. We have been able to keep membership dues relatively low, and we want to make sure that it stays that way, because we appreciate that it's also kind of a challenge. Again, as Lisa mentioned, it does feel like Christmas. We have been seeing it's fun to go to the mailbox. There's only maybe one bill and 50 renewals. That's amazing. And I think that's probably all I have to share right now. Thank you all for joining us, and I'll pass it to you, Anthony, for any last minute words. And thanks again to Belle, Sandy, Sidsworth for joining us, and everyone else who's here. Go ahead, Anthony.
Thanks, Jill, and thanks everybody for attending today. I really want to thank Belle and the Enrichment Center, both Sandys. You guys do an outstanding job. Thanks very much for being here for us. Yeah, I just look forward to this year. I hope everybody could come out to events, get engaged. Ideally we're able to have events again, but definitely, put yourself out there, like the other people said. Join a committee. See what it's all about. And, contribute as much as you can. You'll really get out what you put into the chamber. So really try to put in as much as you can. Thanks again to everybody. I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. I don't know if either Sandy wanted to say anything before leaving, but other than that, I hope you all have a great week.
And I have Susan who wouldn't mind saying a couple words. I should have introduced our other staff. So Susan and Anna are here. So yeah, sure. If you don't mind hanging on 2 seconds, Susan, come on.
Yes, it wasn't my plan to be the last one up, but I did want to address two things. First, to Sandy Sidsworth, thank you so much for being who you are. We all appreciate you, and we'll continue to do that as long as we are on the earth. I can say that emphatically. But I did want to reiterate, I know Jill and I have had these conversations. I've also talked to Karen. I've also talked to the mayor. We are looking at a celebration of some sort this year to celebrate us, because there is not one person on this earth that has not been affected in some way by COVID-19, and we deserve to celebrate the fact that we have made it through this, and to be able to get together and support each other. And let's hope this is almost the end. And to Sandy McDonald, we've had a great relationship, you and I, through the years with sponsorships. I wanted to thank Belle, because in the past, with the advertising that goes on the television is what I'm speaking of right now, for Bell Let's Talk Day, it's always been trendy and perky. And while I understand the basis behind that message, this year's advertisements were to the heart. They touched the heart. It was about the communication piece and the fact that I'm here for you and I'm listening. And I thought, like, I sit and watch those commercials, and even as soon as last night, I sat there and cried, because that is the message. We all need to know that somebody is out there that will listen to us. We just have to reach out and have the courage to do that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm going to get the last word in, because I'm going to tell you, as of right now, we have 47,728,807 interactions. Multiply that by 5 cents, and it's only $12.59. So we go right past midnight, because we're dealing with the West Coast too. So keep it going. Money, money, money. And we know it goes back into the community. So let's Keep it coming.
Awesome. Awesome. Hopefully we'll see you at our community event in the summer.
That'd be great.
Thanks all.